Hey, Randy Henry here from Silverton, Oregon, working on my Great Alaskan. And in the vein of learning from my mistakes, I have something I need to fess up here too. So, what you're seeing here is epoxy that I had to scrape off because it didn't adhere to the layer below it. And what happened, my usual E-Bond epoxy, I'm just unable to get it. They're out of stock, and they have been for a long time, and I want to keep moving, so I ordered a different product, which has worked well until I went to do a third coat on my bulkhead and my stringers. And I didn't sand them very well. The second coat, at least on the bulkhead, was still relatively fresh. It was less than 24 hours old. And with the Z-Bond, that always worked pretty well. You could do a basic wipe down, lay the next coat and get a chemical bond because it wasn't totally cured. Not with this new product. Apparently after it sets, you need to sand it. And you need to wash it down with acetone or ammonia water, or you won't get adhesion. So bad on me for not reading the instructions on the new product. It is not as forgiving as the Z-Bond, but it's available. So anyway, cleaning up this mess, I'm gonna have to strip my rear, or the bulkhead for the cutty. I've got that about halfway done. And I just basically did a roller down the top of the stringers because I had some extra epoxy, so I'm gonna have to scrape that off. And there's a couple other minor places. So thank God I didn't do a whole bunch of stuff. I did some work with this stuff on bare wood. It's a great product. I coated wood, I had fiberglass, I put more resin on top, came back a couple hours later, did more resin, that seems to be fine. But it's where I came back the next day, it felt like it would still dimple. My shop's a little cold. I thought, okay, good. I can still lay it. No, not good on my part. I talked to the company and they said, no, you need to sand it between coats and clean it off. So my bad. Here you go. So I am starting the process of placing or locating my fuel tanks and thinking about weight distribution. This is the 90-gallon Moeller tank, and then we'll come up to my rear bulkhead. So I'm gonna start working on the the bottom piece. I need to next figure out where the toilet's gonna go. I will be working today. I'm going to raise the back deck area up by 3.5 inches at the front, 2.5 in the back, so I got a little slope. Get those in place so then I can add the secondary stern back here 24 inches in from the actual stern, which will come all the way up to the gunnel. Well, what do I have here? I have a whole bunch of fiberglass boards that are going to become the supports for my gas tanks, water tanks in the boat. So these are beveled so that they will sit flush and they will provide support across the V and provide space underneath for water to flow and air to circulate. You may remember this template that we came up with earlier in the build for the cabin bulkhead. Well, the cool thing about it is you can take it apart and shift things around and use it for your other bulkheads. So I did that, and this is what I got. I actually have a stern on my boat. Yeah, this is it's not it's just dry fitted. It's not completely finished, but it looks pretty good. It fits nice and tight, and I've got it placed. So I'm spending a lot of time now that it's temporarily tacked into place to figure out how I'm going to work some of the other pieces here. I have done a lot of measuring for nailers. I'm figuring out my Tuna Door, or whatever they call it. Shout out to my old boss, Larry. I have made it so it's a 1/2 inch wider than my biggest ice box. We'll see if that can stick. Now I have to figure out how to hinge it so it keeps that width. I got nailers on the back because this is going to be flush here. This one is going to be flush also, but there will be a pocket that goes partway up for the kicker. This centerpiece is going to slope down at an angle to give me 6 inches of room here for the outboard motor cables and such, which means I'll have to have some drain holes put into that. You'll notice that the template, temporary fitted, didn't have the bottom part of the bulkhead. So these are the bottom pieces that will fit in between the longitudinal stringers. Okay, this is what's happening on the inside. I have a series of braces back here that will hold the gas tanks. So I've got the 90-gallon gas tank going there. I've got the 41-gallon gas tank going here. It's a different shape, it's aluminum. I carefully cut some beveled and angled 2x4 supports that will hold the center of the tank. The edges will actually rest on just about on the hull. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fiberglass those in and run a thick layer of silicone on that and along the edges where the edges of the tank come, put down some saran wrap and then set that baby in there and let it cure. So it's in a really good, comfortable saddle with a little bit of shock absorption. I added some extensions to the stringers here, 3.5 inches in front, 2 inches in back. That gives a little bit of slope to help things drain off. That's a good height. That gives me height for the tank because I needed an extra inch. And it means that I'll be able to have scuppers on the back that will dump over the side. Yeah, so that's the update. Making good progress. I'm trying harder to estimate how much time it's going to take, but when I came in here this morning, I thought I was just going to work on the lower bulkhead and start looking at the stern, and then I realized in order to do some of the things I needed to do, I needed to actually cut out the template for the stern. I didn't think I was going to build the stern today, but I did, and it works, and that will help me visualize some of what's going on elsewhere. So right this moment, I am cutting the 3/4 inch plywood stringers that go between the LVL stringers, that's the main ones that run the entire length of the boat, and the sidewall. So it's kind of like, well, you have to do a little bit of reverse lofting to get the angles right. So I measured out 21 inches halfway between the LVL and the side, made some marks every 12 inches, put a straight edge out, plumbed it, measured the distance every 12 inches, took that back, transferred it to a board, came back, checked the angles, and now I'll be doing 3 different angle sets as I cut this piece out. I have also had, because I raised the floor here, I'll have the lower false or the lower cabin bulkhead there, which means that'll jump up 3.5 inches, and that is tapered backwards, so that took some more sort of lofting gymnastics to get it there. But I gotta say, this is a heck of a boat. This thing just keeps getting cooler and cooler. Pretty excited. I put together a work plan with what I'm going to try to achieve each week, and I know it looks like I'm a long ways from it, but I don't know. Still holding out hope I'll get this thing in the water by July 1.